Yeah.
Hi everybody, this is Patrick from Travels with Delaney along with Patty, and many of you saw our midweek update with the sad news that we lost Delaney. Her cancer finally overtook her. So this week we thought we'd do something different, and because we never did an official video on who Delaney was, a lot of you got to know her over the past 6 months, but we want to share some of the things that you didn't know about her in this week's video. Please stay till the end of this video because we're going to be talking about a giveaway that we'll be doing when we hit 1,000 subscribers. This week we received an email from YouTube stating that we're going to lose our right to monetize our videos if we do not hit or until we hit 1,000 subscribers. As of today's taping, we're just shy of 800. We need a couple hundred more. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe immediately. And if you are subscribed, thank you very much. Continue to like and comment on those videos. That helps move us up in the video order, and also share your videos on your other social media networks. That helps to get our videos out to increase. So again, stay to the end of this and we'll tell you exactly what you'll have an opportunity to win when we get to 1,000 subscribers. So, all right, well, let's get started. And Patty, do you want to start?
My first memory is when we found her. Our friend Dave found her for us. We weren't really looking for another dog. We had our dog Maddie at the time, and she was a mixed King Charles Spaniel Pomeranian.
Shih Tzu.
Shih Tzu.
Yeah. Mom was purebred Cavy, but Dad was Shih Tzu Pomeranian.
Yeah.
But she was a great dog too.
She was mostly the King Charles. So we just happened one Sunday, we're out with Dave and Julian, and then he found her and was holding on to her, and we couldn't resist that face. So
the thing I think I remember was those paws were huge for her little body, because literally Delaney, when we got her, I think she was, what, 3 months old?
yeah, she's like 5 pounds, 7 pounds, something like that.
But she just had these massive
Big
paws. And Dave and Julie at the time were living with us. They were transitioning from Arizona back to Indiana. And they had a Cocker Spaniel that I had fallen in love with over the years, Maggie. And so I think Dave intentionally knew, and he brought Delaney over to me to hold her, that I was going to melt.
That was it.
Yeah. So that's how we ended up getting her. We weren't really looking for her, but and same way with Maddie. When we found our first dog, Maddie, we weren't really looking for a dog per se. I mean, I always feel like the two of them found us. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and then, of course, I got to name her, and I named her Delaney Christine, so.
Which was just to share. We, unfortunately, were never able to have children, and so that was always going to be the name of our firstborn daughter, Delaney Christine. And I remember when we got Delaney, I just said to Patty, at that point, we kind of knew we were never going to have children, and I said, why don't we use the name? Yeah. And so that's how she ended up. Maddie was actually named Madeline Francis, which was named after my mom's mother and grandmother. But Delaney Christine was just a name I don't know why we fell in love with.
And Delaney comes from a Jimmy Buffett song.
Yeah.
Because we were a Jimmy Buffett fans, so that's where the name Delaney came from.
Right.
Because people are like, where'd you get the name Delaney? So, but then she had a lot of nicknames. She had D-Bug.
We were always, everything revolved around Delaney, but yeah, lots of different names. It really worked out good, if you remember, because of the fact that our friends were living with us at the time. Dave was in the process of transitioning jobs, so he was home most of the day for several weeks. And so he became what we referred to as the Manny.
The Manny, yeah.
He literally raised Delaney those first couple months. And do you remember the funniest thing? We'd come home in the afternoon and
he'd be so annoyed with her about something, and he'd be chasing her with a water bottle.
Yeah, he'd literally be running around squirting her in the face, because that's actually a nice technique, I guess, for.
But what was so funny is he'd squirt her, and she would just go.
Yeah, she'd start licking like she was actually enjoying it, which just would make Dave even more frustrated. But Delaney and Dave really bonded during those months. All the way, I mean, even when Dave and Julie would come over, Delaney would immediately cuddle right up to Dave, and I think there was a real bond for him. But and for that, Dave, thank you, because she was such a well-trained dog, and I do credit that to you, those first few months that you helping us out, teaching her how to go outside and behave. So it seems like everywhere we went, people would compliment us on how well behaved Delaney was.
Yeah, you would know she was
so
there.
Dave's a big part of that.
Right. When she was a pup, we had also Maddie, who was more of an adult dog, so we had 2 different dishes. And we used just this little storage container for the
It was like
food.
what you get your lunch meat in, those little clear things. We would just put that out with some
We'd see
dog
her
food.
come running with it empty in her mouth. And
Yeah, and literally, that picture of her with that dish in her mouth, it was like saying, hey guys, it's time to feed me.
I'm hungry.
I mean,
Feed
she
me.
would let you know. And in those early years, she ate like a horse,
Oh my
if
gosh.
you remember. I mean,
Well, and she knew the order because she let Maddie eat first. You'd watch her later
Yeah.
when they had the same food, and then she would eat after Maddie. But yeah, it was funny with that little dish.
yeah, she was pretty hilarious with that. So.
She loved pillows. Anywhere we found pillows on her bed. I always called her the pillow diver. You'd see a tail, her wiggle butt sticking out one end, and the pillows just moving on the other end. And all of a sudden she'd pop out, and there she would be after hiding in the pillows. And she had this little morning routine. It was adorable. She'd just take her big ears and pull them
She'd
up
start
over.
pulling them over like this, and
then
she
she'd
knew how
stop.
to work a camera.
Yeah, she would do it because she knew you were watching. All of a sudden she'd stop like, you looking at me? And then she'd keep going. I know I have video somewhere of
Yeah,
that.
and the other thing she would do is sometimes in the morning when I was trying to make the bed, she would want my attention, but I'm trying to make the bed because we had to go to work. And so she would literally just almost dive like Superman right in front of me. And,
Flop her big paws down.
yeah, and like to like say, hey,
belly
look
rub.
at me. And so usually then I'd spend a minute
You had
giving her.
to.
You had to because you couldn't even make the bed because she'd sprawled out. So
Yeah.
that was something I'm gonna miss.
Yeah, those little things. As you know, if you've watched our channel, we've talked about hiking on the Appalachian Trail or hiking at national parks and things like that. And whenever we'd hike, I always, even with Maddie, we made sure she had something pink on because we wanted people to know that she was a girl. And so just hiking along, people go, that's a pretty girl. Look at that pretty girl. Because on your hike the Appalachian Trail, you got to have a
Trail name.
Trail name.
Yeah, and so that became her trail name.
Was Pretty Girl, and she'd come to Pretty Girl because you'd be like, "Come here, Pretty Girl," and and everywhere we went, she was the attraction.
Yeah, and the thing is she hiked about 100 miles of the Appalachian Trail with us. She did, some of it was not as intense. For instance, we did the whole state of Maryland that one summer, which I think was 40 some miles. And she carried her own backpack. Now, we didn't put a lot of weight in
The
it, but
vet
we had
said no more than 7 pounds.
Yeah, we measured out, made sure we
fine.
didn't exceed what the vet said was acceptable, but it was basically some water and food that she would carry.
Yeah.
I always remember in Maryland, we were going through this rocky section, heading north towards Pennsylvania.
Going down.
And we were going down a pretty steep, and there were these big boulders. And she, instead of taking the easy route, she chose to go between 2 boulders, and actually,
Got stuck.
she wedged herself to where her little paws were just doing this, and her backpack was suspended.
Yeah.
And I remember first we laughed, and then this backpack she had a handle you could lift her up, and I literally just picked her up and carried her a ways and then put her back down. But it was just so funny because
She
instead of taking the easy route, it's like she decided she was going to go through the 2 boulders, but she couldn't squeeze through.
Yeah, her backpack held her up.
But then we also did, if you remember, she hiked in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, which is some pretty intense hiking.
Going up a ladder and down a
Yeah,
ladder.
like there were literally sections where there's like ladders that you're kind of pulling yourself up. And I remember we always kept her on a leash when we hiked. But I remember
On that section
it's
we
that
didn't.
section I couldn't. I just was like,
didn't want her to be
and I remember
choked or-
she was great because she found a path
to go up.
went to the top, and then turned around and watched us, almost like to encourage
Like,
us
"Come
that
on,
we
you
could
can do
make
it."
it.
Yeah.
And I think she probably could have hiked without a leash on, but we were just
I just didn't want her to get.
there was just so many reasons we didn't.
Well, and
so.
she gets so sidetracked
So-
sometimes. So
But the other thing you started to mention was how she was an attraction. Do you remember when we came off the AT in Harper's Ferry?
it was so funny because we knew when we came out the AT we wanted to go get a burger, and she was going to actually get a burger.
Yeah, she ended up getting her own burger,
Burger.
but that wasn't the funny
But
part.
as we're walking off the trail, these other folks there hiking the trail or whatever say, "Can we get your picture?"
And I think, if I remember right, I think they were from maybe Germany or something.
And I said, "Sure." And I started to pick her up and
To
walk
get the
over to
picture,
you,
and I said, Patty, I think they want a picture of them
they
and
just want
Delaney.
Delaney.
And they just wanted Delaney, and the people were so nice. They were like, "Oh, it's okay if you want to be in the picture." But
I'm like, "Oh, it's okay. I
But-
don't need to be in the picture."
Yeah.
But I misunderstood.
and then, but it wasn't just hiking. I mean, we could go to these most amazing places. I remember like in Acadia, at Yellowstone this summer,
At
Cape Hatteras
this-
down in North Carolina. And so people are, in some cases, you're paying money to go to these places. And then I would walk, like maybe I'd go look at something that we couldn't take Delaney to, and I'd come back and I would
There'd be a
find,
crowd around us getting pictures of Delaney.
yeah,
They'd be
people
like,
wanting to take their picture with Delaney.
Can we
It
take
was,
your picture? Can Delaney be with my child? Can Delaney? And luckily, she just loved it. She just sat there and was easygoing and took the picture.
I was always like, you people drove thousands of miles to come see Old Faithful, but you would rather have your picture taken with Delaney. So,
Yeah.
and then I think the really one I cracked up at was this summer at Yellowstone. Do you remember
Yes.
the family from Canada? And there was
The
the one lady's name was Delaney, and so they insisted that the two Delaney's get their picture taken, and you'll see that picture here on
was
the
funny. She
screen.
just
And so
sat
it was
there.
Canadian Delaney with American Delaney
Yeah.
getting their pictures
Yeah.
taken. So yeah, she was an attraction.
She also really loved the beach. When we did our trips to the beach, like Hilton Head Island, because we bike ride a lot, we used to, and she had her own little carrier that we bought her, and she would ride in the back. But I remember one time on the beach, she wanted to get out, so we let her out, walk around, and then she didn't want to get back in. We're like, you gotta get back in. She didn't want
She
to get
didn't
back
wanna
in.
get in.
So we used to start running. Well, you're going to run alongside the bike. We weren't going too fast, and she's jogging along, and Patrick always carried her carrier, and all of a sudden he stopped. Little booger just jumped right in. She's like, I'm not running anymore.
Yeah, I think she
Put me in.
realized, like, okay, I do like this carrier.
Yeah.
And actually, the whole biking thing started. Remember when we went to Mackinac
Right.
Island? We seen they had bicycles for rent, and we were looking at them. And I said to the guy, "Oh, I'd love to go bike riding, but we have our dog with us." And
Yeah.
he was the one that said, "Oh, we have a carrier for specifically for a pet."
And it was like a child carrier, but it was flat on the bottom,
Right.
and she could face
would-
forward,
right.
not backwards like a
And
child.
it was about 4 times the expense
Yeah.
to buy.
I mean, it had screens in it. It
yeah.
had ventilation. It could
But
carry
she
her
enjoyed
drink.
that so much that day that we committed to, we're going to go out and buy bikes and get that specific carrier. And I want to say we spent, that Burley was about $400.
I don't know, but we used it.
We used it a lot. She really did enjoy it. I mean, she went with us. We rode sections of the Gap, which is the Great Allegheny Passage, which is that huge bike trail that goes from Pittsburgh to DC. We did some sections of that.
Up at Kalamazoo.
We rode up to Kalamazoo, the Calhaven Trail with her, and then we
the
did
Pumpkin Vine.
the Pumpkin Vine, and then we had also done the Creeper Trail out in Virginia, and she just sat there in the carrier, just looking out, just enjoying the scenery.
And it was wild because I would always be behind just to make sure, everything was okay with her, kind of watching her. And I'd hear people go, oh, and then they just go, oh, like, look at the child. Oh, it's a puppy in there. Because she would just.
Do you remember, though, we just started on the Virginia Creeper Trail with our friends Rick and Sandy.
Yeah.
And I hear somebody kind of yelling
Security
at me.
person.
And this guy pulls up and he's like a national park officer, because I believe that was part of the national park system or state park, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And he's like, sir, I need you to stop. And I'm thinking, oh, great, don't tell me pets aren't allowed and I'm going to get yelled at. And he goes, you don't have your dog's carrier hooked up proper. There's a safety hook,
forgot to hook the
and I
safety
forgot
hook.
to hook the safety hook, and all he was trying to do was make sure he goes, I just wanted to make sure your little baby's safe. And but it was so funny. I'm like, I'm getting pulled over
like, uh-oh.
on bicycle.
Yeah, we weren't even.
But even the Rangers were looking
Looking
out
out
for
for
her.
Yeah.
So, and then she was really good with Maddie. Until
most part,
for the
till
most
the
part,
end.
the end. The end, she was she was a typical Cocker Spaniel. She was very protective of us. She never bit a human being or even attempted to,
No.
but she didn't like other dogs for the most part.
Yeah.
And so towards the end of Maddie's life, on
She would
occasion,
attack.
she would attack Maddie. I always remember my mom one time, we were sitting in our fifth wheel, and all Maddie did, I think, was
Just walk
got
by
up,
her.
just got up. And Delaney must have thought she was going for a treat or something, and literally went after Delaney or Maddie, and I picked Delaney up,
And there's
and
Maddie.
here's Maddie coming with her because she had her by the neck. And my mom was not a big fan of
No.
dogs anyway, which this made her even more scared of Delaney. But the thing was, Delaney never. She was great with kids. She would let kids just pet her and touch her, and but she was such a good dog. And I think the thing Delaney, well, both of the girls, but Delaney in particular, her personality. She just had a true personality.
She would let you know. She would talk to you.
Oh yeah, she would. I mean, when she was mad at you, you knew you were in trouble. And honestly, at the vet on Monday, when she came out, when they handed her to us, I just thought she was mad at us for leaving her alone while they drew some blood.
Yeah, she.
Unfortunately, that was not necessarily her personality. that was just the process. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, she was a great gal. I know a lot of you, first of all, thank you to everyone for your comments this past week. Those really helped us get through this week, knowing there was so much outpouring of support here on YouTube and Facebook and all of our, so we appreciate that. We don't know what's going to happen. It has been a really odd week. It's so quiet when we come home. We're used to driving up and seeing over here in the patio window our little wiggle butt, and then as soon as she spotted us, she would turn and run over here to the garage door to wait for us. Today, I started crying when I got back from taking the garbage out, just because every Sunday is garbage day.
She knew.
She would hear me pull it around from out back, and then she would let Patty know it's time. And so Patty would let her out the front door, and she'd go down and come back. And so, I think I just think this house is not a home without a four-legged friend. So someday we'll find the right child, kind of like Maddie and Delaney found us. I think there's someday one will find us. But until then, we just want to, continue to remember Delaney, and we'll always remember both of the girls. So, anything else you want to add?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay.
Delaney Christine.
So again, we really need to get to 1,000 subscribers. Whether we get there by February 20th or if it's after there, we really need your help. And so again, by liking and commenting and sharing our videos, that helps us get there. When we get to 1,000, we're going to be giving away some prizes, mainly as a thank you to all of you who've been with us since day one on this channel. So we're going to be giving away my favorite piece of technology for our camper. It's that little battery charger for your cell phones and iPads and things like that. It's the best one I've ever owned, because you can we charge both of our phones at least 3 times off of it before it needs to be recharged. So we're going to be giving one of those away. That's about a $35 value. I know we're also going to be giving away some maple syrup from our favorite maple syrup farm in Vermont, the Baird Farm. We absolutely love that. It's an organic maple syrup farm, and so we're going to be giving away at least a half gallon of maple syrup. But in total, we're going to be giving away about $100 worth of prizes to you as a thank you for helping us reach 1,000 subscribers. When we get to 1,000, the way it'll work is we'll post a short video. We'll just ask you to comment that you want to win. Once we get everybody that's commented that they want to win, we'll literally write those down, draw names out of a hat. We can even do that on a video so you know it's legit, and then we'll get your prizes shipped out to you. So, all right, I think that's it. The other thing, last thing is, we'd like your feedback on how you want these videos to go from here on out. We're in the winter months in January, so do you want us to continue doing gear reviews? Obviously, we're not going to be doing much traveling for the next few months. Do you want to see more of some cooking that we'd done? I do have a video waiting to be loaded on my maple bourbon salmon. Or do you want more of a daily video blog? They would not be daily per se, but more of our day-to-day life, seeing what we do. So, because again, we want this channel to be for you. There's no point in you subscribing to a channel if you don't like the content we're putting out. We can't please everybody, but we'd like to please the majority. So leave us some comments down below on how you want our channel videos until we can get back out on the road traveling. And I guess until next time, everybody, we'll see ya.
On down the road.
Good night.
Good night.